Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tony Lajeunesse, and I'm the president and CEO of TL Financial Group, and I am working remotely today at home. And that's one of the good things about working remotely is that there's no more snow days. So working from the comfort of my house, didn't have to go out and brave the roads. So I hope you all are staying safe and warm. I want to thank you for taking some time out to attend this really important savvy cybersecurity webinar. There's so many things that we're inundated with throughout the day and weeks and years, and we want to make sure that we're protected. And like the title says here, 10 threats every person in business faces and how to fight them. And so I'm going to give you some really good practical information and some practical steps on how to protect yourself. Today's webinar is in listen only mode. It is being recorded though, and it'll be available in a few days on our website and our Facebook page. So if you have any questions for me once we're done with this webinar, as always, please feel free to reach out to me, email me, or give me a call, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So 2 seconds. That's how often someone becomes a victim of identity theft. Last year, there were over 14 million victims of identity theft and fraud. You may have known someone as well who've been affected by it as well. Are you one of those 14 million? Has your personal information been exposed in a data breach or hack? The stats say most likely. In fact, I was just notified last week that the life insurance company where I have a policy with them, their company was hacked, and that my important information, Social Security, all my Social Security numbers, birthday, address was all hacked. So this is becoming more and more of a common thing, and I'll share with you in this webinar how I'm protecting myself from any further damage that could be done by leaks like this, and steps that you should take as well. The past few years have given us record-breaking breaches. You see only a few of the big ones listed here. The Marriott hotel chain exposed data on 500 million guests in a recent breach. The credit reporting agency Equifax suffered a massive breach that affected 143 million Americans. Yahoo, though, took first place for the biggest breach in history, and that hack affected over 3 billion users. And these are only some of the breaches that occurred in the last few years. So given those statistics, it's likely that your personal information has landed in the hands of a hacker. In addition, new threats are exposed every day. Even as we sit here now, there are a vast array of cyber attacks that are pounding at the walls of security networks built to protect you and your digital persona on the internet. And what I'm going to say next sounds a little bit dramatic, but it's completely true. A world of dark forces and criminal networks conspire day and night to steal your username and password, obtain your Social Security number, open credit cards in your name, drain your bank accounts, and seize your computer to hold it for ransom. The authors of the book, Cybersecurity and Cyber War, contend that a cyber world war is underway and that we're all involved in it. Our biggest problem, they say, is that we face a cybersecurity knowledge gap. And that's why we're on this webinar today, because I'm worried for all of us, myself, my family, our clients, and the community. It's a serious problem and it's growing, but I don't think it's a reason for despair. Most people don't realize how vulnerable they are or what they can do to maximize their security. So by the end of this presentation, you'll have you'll be much better prepared to protect yourself, your family, and your business from the quietly raging cyber wars targeted at all of us. Today, I'm here to help you create a personal cybersecurity system that will keep you and your family safe. First, you're going to take a short quiz to determine your current cybersecurity score. We'll do that in just a moment. Then once you know your vulnerabilities, I'll teach you the new cybersecurity rules. These are actions you can take that will boost your score. So at the end of this presentation, you'll want to pick 3 actions right away. And I've got those action items for you. You should have received some items attached to an email from our office related to today's webinar. And one of them is the quick reference guide. So if you have that, you'll want to pull that up. I'm going to show it to you right here. So you don't have to have it pulled up, but you can do it right from here. So what I want you to do is read each one of these questions and mark just yes or no. So, if you have just a pad of paper and a pen, pencil, or whatever, just mark down how many yeses and how many nos. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to go over this, because it's actually a really important drill that we go through, because it's really going to inform you of what your preparedness is like. So what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself 5 points for each question that you answered yes, and then add up those points to determine your rating by looking at part B. And I'll show you that in just a second. So I'll give you just a couple minutes to answer these questions, come up with your score, and then we'll go to the next slide. We'll see how you did. We'll actually come back to it in a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. So before I do that though, don't be discouraged if you scored low, okay? Most people do. Knowing where you stand is the first step in creating your cybersecurity plan. So let's get started. Let's learn the new cybersecurity rules first. I believe you can develop 3 cybersecurity mindsets to strengthen and maintain your cybersecurity so that staying safe is simple. The 3 mindsets cover various parts of your life and overlap to form a sweet spot. And this sweet spot of actions that will boost your cybersecurity score. Each mindset alone provides greater security, but the combination of the 3 really makes you secure. So the mindsets are secrecy, omniscience, and mindfulness. Each mindset contains a group of actions for people to take called the new cybersecurity rules. So I'm going to explain all 3 mindsets and the associated rules, and let's take a look at the first mindset. We all need more secrecy in our lives, and that is why our first key idea is adopting a new level of secrecy can boost your security and cyber confidence. The secrecy mindset entails keeping your personal and private data private. With all the massive amounts of data breaches suffered by corporations and governments, we need to act as if our personal data already exists in the hands of cyber criminals, because it likely does, as it does with my information from the life insurance company that I mentioned at the beginning of today's presentation. So we all need to draw a tighter ring of security around our personal data, and that starts first with your email. Our email addresses are the key to our digital lives. We share it with countless businesses, organizations, and people. If you use the internet for any amount of time, you have entered your email address at a host of online accounts for shopping, traveling, exercising, gaming, dating, and more. We don't even think twice. But having your email addresses in so many databases puts you at significant risk. Hackers routinely breach the security networks of many organizations that hold your primary email address. That stolen personal data, paired with poor email security, can lead to disaster. Robert, let me make sure I get this last name right, Siciliano. He is the CEO of identitytheftsecurity.com. And he's also a security writer, and he explains, it has been said that if you own a person's personal email, you can own the person. This means that once your email's hacked, pretty much your entire digital life is up for grabs. So even if you've done your due diligence to have all of your passwords be different, if your email is hacked and it's associated with your other online accounts, the hacker could simply use a reset password and get access to all of your other accounts. Take the story of professor and software security expert Herbert Thompson. Thompson bet a friend that he could hack into her bank account. With her permission, he began. He first simply Googled her name, stumbled upon her blog, and an old resume. From the blog, he got her personal email address and her old college email address from her resume. Now he was on his way. Thompson was able to use the forgot my password feature on her college email account to get in using the personal information listed on her resume. Once he reset that password, he was able to reset her current email address, having the link sent to her college email. Once he was in her personal email, he could reset her online banking password. Now, you might not care if someone hacks into your Food Network or your Yelp account, but you certainly don't want your online banking exposed in the same way. This is why you need to create a separate secret email for your financial accounts. This is really, really important. This email address should be unidentifiable. Don't use your first name or last name, initials, or anything that might identify you. It should also be protected by a strong and unique password. It's so important to do this since many of us have several accounts that require an email address and password. We typically have the same password for each of these accounts since we cannot possibly remember all of them. For example, I have 162 different logins for myself, just for me. Amazon, Kiplinger, Facebook, Twitter, Kroger, Apple, eBay, FedEx, the list goes on and on. So a separate email address significantly reduces your digital footprint. And if your primary non-financial email address is exposed in a hack, it won't be connected to your financial accounts. So have a separate one for that. This is a key step in boosting your security. By the way, I use 2 different apps to keep my password safe and available to me. And you see them here on the screen. They're called LastPass and 1Password. You can use those apps, download them from either the Google Store or the Apple Store, put it on your phone, and it's encrypted and super, super strong. And all you need is one master password to get into that app. And then you can put all of your passwords in there. I do that for my parents as well, in case they need help or assistance, or if a loved one passes away, you're able to get in there and close out their accounts. So it's important to have access to that. And our email addresses really need to be protected by good, strong passwords, okay? But we all face something called the password paradox. Easy to remember passwords are easy to break. Hard to break passwords are hard to remember. That's why we have a password manager like LastPass or 1Password. Many passwords we use are child's play for hackers. Computer power gets stronger with each passing year. That means the bad guys can figure out your password in no time flat. How long does it take for a computer to crack 1,000 weak passwords? About 17 minutes. One reason for this is that people choose passwords that have less than 6 characters, or they use names or dictionary words or other common passwords like password, or the password they use is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's an example. Creative director Marciano Estrella took the password paradox head on. Following his divorce, Estrella wanted to focus on the positive aspects of his life. Instead of being annoyed when he had to change his password every 30 days for work, he decided to make a challenge. Every 30 days, he would choose a new goal and turn that into his password. So for example, his first password was forgive at H3R and was directed to his ex-wife. After 30 days, he changed his password to quit smoking, then the number 4, and then ever, VER. And he did. So he found a way to take the ordinary password and improve his life. There are other ways to think about passwords as well. You could create a mnemonic phrase with numbers or symbols thrown in. For instance, a woman I know takes the first line of a prayer she says every day and uses the first letter of each of the first 10 words of that prayer. She adds some numbers and symbols in there, and it makes it a very strong password. Or you could use a poem, song, lyrics, or phrase You can see some examples here. Or you could try this. You create a password that embodies a goal that you're trying to reach, such as exercising, quitting smoking, or saving money. This is especially good when you need to change your password every 6 months. That's why having a password app to help you remember all those passwords is a really wise idea. So each time you type your password, instead of it being a negative drag on your brain, it will be a positive reinforcement for your specific goal. You can see examples here. You can also get creative as you like. Remember to drop out some letters and replace them with symbols to boost your password strength. By the way, on our Savvy Cybersecurity reference guide, there's a letter to symbol conversion chart for you to help you as well. Another technique is called diceware method. Here you'll roll die 5 times and recording each number. What happens is you repeat that process 4 more times, so you have 5 5-digit numbers. Then go to www.diceware.com and match your 5-digit numbers to the list of 7,776 word lists. Those random 5 words become your password. Now, you may be thinking, my gosh, how am I going to remember all this? Well, we all know a number of passwords we have is growing. Like I said, I have 162 of them, and it's nearly impossible to remember a unique, strong password for all of those accounts. That's why I recommend using a password manager like LastPass or 1Password. A password manager stores all of your passwords in an encrypted file stored on your computer or in the cloud. The file is protected with a master password. The only password you'll have to remember is that one. Of course, you'll want that password to be as strong as possible and not forget it, because that will be the key to all of your other passwords. Creating strong passwords is just the first step in your account protection plan. We need to put a layer of security on all important accounts such as email, online banking, social media, and more. That extra layer is relatively new. It's relatively a new trend on online security called two-step verification, or sometimes called two-factor authentication. It should be added to any account you have that supports the technology. With this approach, when you start to log into an account online, you're sent to a short-lived one-time passcode. You must use that code to finish logging in. You can receive this code like as a text message or something called an authenticator app. That app is the most secure option, as it is more difficult for hackers to compromise. Some popular authenticator apps are Google Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator. This method stops your accounts from getting hacked because it requires 2 separate things: something you know, your password, and something you have, the temporary code. So even if a hacker has your password, he won't gain access, and you'll be alerted if someone is trying to break into your account. If you get a code and you haven't tried to log in, you know something is up. At that point, you'll want to change your password. And you don't have to worry about entering a code every time you log into your account from your device. On many sites, you can designate safe devices where you only need to enter the verification code every 30 days when logging on from that device. Okay, now that we know how to lock down our passwords, it's time to talk about when it's safe to log into those accounts. So it's certainly true that we all love free internet access and when we're out and about and we want to be connected, but that free connection can end up being very costly. These free networks are completely open and hackers can gain access to anything you do while connected. Your email, your credit card numbers, your bank accounts. You see the pattern here. It could be very, very bad. So when you're connected to free public Wi-Fi, avoid making financial transactions or checking your email. Instead, you can use your smartphone as a hotspot. This is personally what I do. When you do, you'll be using your data, which comes from your cell phone, which is encrypted. And so you would just access your computer or your iPad or tablet, and you go to your hotspot using your phone instead of using the Wi-Fi free network, say at Starbucks or at a theater or something like that. If you need to connect regularly and on the go, a VPN, which is a virtual private network, would be a good option. This device allows you to create your own private Wi-Fi network anywhere you go. And let me go back here. There we go. Here we go. Okay, but what about your home Wi-Fi network? Your home wireless network can open the doors to you and your family's digital life if your router is not properly protected. Now, there's four main things that you must do to lock down your router and Wi-Fi network from hackers. Now, I'll warn you, these are some of the more technical actions you'll have to take. Don't be discouraged if it sounds too difficult for you. If you are confused, I advise you to contact the tech person in your life for this type of help. To do these steps, you'll have to log into your router's IP address. If you do not know your router's IP address, you can find it in your user manual or by searching the make and model of your router online. Then what you'll want to do is you'll need to change the default username and password. Hackers know these and will use them to try to break into your network. So pick a really strong password. And then of course, number two, encrypt your router. Be sure to select the strongest encryption setting for your router. So WPA2 or WPA3 are good ones. WEP is no longer considered secure, and you should replace your router if your only option is WEP. And then lastly, disable your Wi-Fi protected setup, which is the WPS. This feature allows others to quickly connect to your network with a short passcode rather than having them type the whole password. But it can lead to strangers gaining access. If you don't have the option to fully disable this feature, see if you can limit the number of attempts a person can make to log in. And then number four, and lastly, update your router firmware, which is a fancy word for software. The majority of routers come with outdated software, which leaves your network vulnerable to attacks. Updating your firmware sounds like a daunting task, but it's really not that bad. Just follow the instructions in your manual for the detailed instructions on how to go about doing that. Key two, we need to know what's going on with our cybersecurity at all times. So that's why the second key idea is completing certain actions that can help you achieve financial cyber omniscience and thwart fraud. Achieving this, and what I mean by this is that all knowingness, all right, is what we're thinking about here. It will put you at the center of your financial life. And that starts with using technology so you're totally aware of what funds are leaving your accounts or being charged to your accounts at all times. How would you feel to discover that hackers had plundered your debit card for nearly $1,000 on Christmas Eve, being Grinched, right? That's exactly what happened to Leslie Fredrickson. It all started about 1 month earlier on Black Friday. Like many people, she shopped at her local Target store and nabbed a few money-saving Christmas deals. All seemed well. Then a week before Christmas, news broke of the Target data breach. She, like many, hoped it didn't involve her. A few days before Christmas, Fredrickson's bank told her she had overdrawn her account by $100, so she quickly learned that someone else had used her debit card 4 times, charging nearly $1,000. Her card was now useless, and the bank told her it would be weeks before she could get a new one. Her Christmas was ruined. She had to borrow money to pay for her holiday dinner and January's rent. If only she had been alerted about the fraudulent charges earlier. So it's not all hopeless. You can protect your payment cards from the swarm of hackers and data breaches. So make sure you sign up for alert notifications on all of your bank accounts and credit card companies. By doing so, you'll get a text or email alert every time a charge or withdrawal is made. So I have this set up with my credit cards and bank accounts. It gives me peace of knowing what purchases are being made. It also helps me know where my wife is at. Oh, she's at Home Goods. I just got a charge from there. The banks know instantly when charges are made to our accounts. And so why shouldn't we, right? So signing up for instant alerts will bring you closer to achieving this mindset. Super, super important. So this is absolutely critical to everyone's cybersecurity. Let's see what I mean. Now, here's something most people don't quite understand about their credit files. By default, our credit files are open. That means anyone with enough information to impersonate you may be able to open a new line of credit in your name. It happens all the time, and it's a major source of identity theft. And when you consider how many private and public organizations have been hacked, institutions we've trusted with our social security numbers, employment history, and other details about our financial lives, you need to be concerned about the state of your credit file at the big three agencies. We need to take back control of our credit through a credit freeze. A credit freeze locks your credit file with a PIN at each of the credit bureaus. No new credit can be issued in your name unless you lift that freeze with your special PIN. You will have to contact each of the credit bureaus separately. As of September 21st, 2018, credit freezes are free in every state thanks to a new federal law. Previously, the cost varied by state. It could have charged you about up to $10 per action. Now it's all free. A credit freeze puts you in control. It is way more secure than credit monitoring or even fraud alert, both of which will alert you after the credit has been issued in your name. With a credit freeze, you can prevent identity theft from happening instead of clearing up your identity theft nightmare. But it's not just your credit that you need to be concerned about. Experts say that 500,000 children suffer from identity theft every year. Why? Their records are clean and they're attractive to thieves, and they're looking to open new accounts without any issues, and that theft can go unnoticed for years as parents and guardians often don't think to check their children's records. But childhood identity theft can lead to a lifetime of fraud and ruined credit. The first step in protecting your children is ensuring they have no credit report by contacting all three of the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Parents should send a letter, including copies of their child's birth certificate listing them as the parent, their driver's license, and proof of address to all three of the credit reporting agencies, and ask for a manual search of their child's social security number. If no report is found, you're in luck. You should still periodically check on your child's status, however. If a report is found, it's usually a sign your child has been victimized. Ask the credit bureaus to immediately place a credit freeze on your child's record and investigate further. You can now request a credit freeze for your child in every state. Previously, it was dependent on the state of residence, but now it's a federal law. So you'll have to contact all three bureaus individually. All right. Our third cybersecurity key idea has to do with mindfulness. Achieving a sense of mindfulness when it comes to cybersecurity allows you to stay alert without becoming fatigued. What does that mean? We need to be in a state of relaxed alertness when dealing with cybersecurity. Fighter pilots have an acronym for this state called OODA. It stands for observation, orientation, decision, and action. Zen masters use the phrase mindfulness. When Google completed their own analysis of worldwide cybersecurity practices, they also recommended mindfulness as part of their cybersecurity. Mindfulness simply relates to your day-to-day cybersecurity practices, and all of us should practice it. So 9 out of 10 security experts say running updated software is necessary for strong security. Out-of-date software allows hackers to plant viruses and malicious software on your devices. Yet 40% of computer users don't update their software in a timely fashion. And security experts say 75 to 80% of the computer hacks they see relate to outdated software. Hackers exploit security holes in unpatched software, which allows them to install malware and viruses onto your unprotected devices. This malware could record everything you do or kidnap your computer for ransom. So you want to make sure that all the software and programs on your devices are up to date. That includes your operating system, your browsers, Microsoft Office, Adobe programs, and more. Many programs allow you to enable auto updates. So you should enable this on all of your programs that allow it. A good place to start to see if a program will auto update is the Security or Settings tab. You can always Google the name of the program and auto update. It's also a good idea to install a good antivirus program on your computer. You'll want to make sure that it's always up to date as well. And periodically go through the programs on your devices and uninstall anything that you haven't used in a long time. The fewer programs you have, the fewer holes for hackers are able to attack. One type of malware, as I mentioned on a previous slide, That's pretty bad. You don't want this one to happen to you. It's where they kidnap your computer and they hold it for ransom. This is called ransomware, and it's one of the biggest threats today. In this attack, hackers infect your device with malware that encrypts everything on your computer. You can no longer access any of your files. In order to get your files, in order to get them back, you have to pay the hackers a Bitcoin ransom. In order to avoid paying the ransom to cybercrooks, you need to follow the rule of three, meaning you need to back up your files and data in 3 different places. The first is on your computer or device. Next, you'll need to save a copy of your files and data to a physical backup device, something like an external hard drive. And then lastly, you need to save your data to a cloud service like Dropbox or iCloud or OneDrive. The cloud is an internet connected server that syncs with your device. Ransomware attacks are normally spread through a method called phishing. Phishing messages are emails that impersonate a legitimate company or person, and they're designed to steal your personal information or install malware on your machine through a malicious link. Hackers are sending out 94 billion of these messages every day. Most get caught up in your spam filter, but some find their way to your inbox. Let's look at a story straight out of the White House. The wife of John P. Holdren, assistant to former President Obama and former director of the White House Office of Science and Technology, received an email which she believed to be from her husband. It asked for the password to fix their Xfinity phone and internet account. Ms. Holdren sent the password and went about her day. But she hadn't sent the password to her husband. Rather, she sent it to a political hacking group who, with the password, redirected all of Holdren's phone calls to the Free Palestine movement line. The Holdrens joined a long list of victims, including CIA Director John Brennan and Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. Had Holdren's wife known the 10-second email rule that I'm about to teach you, she may not have fallen for this scam. Now, there's a 10-second cybersecurity rule that will help you fend off these phishers. The acronym is really simple. It's email, E-M-A-I-L, and it stands for examine, message, and inspect links. Let's take it one step at a time. The first half of the acronym, examine message, starts with the subject, Phishers try to get us to react quickly to an urgent situation. Often they make the subject line frightening, such as warning, account closed, or security alert. Some are more subtle, but still require you to take action. For example, mail delivery failed, return message to sender, or incoming fax received. Subject lines like this should alert us that may be a phishing attack. Next, we need to discover the true sender of the email. Phishers can spoof the form line to appear to be a legitimate business or organization. You can determine the true sender by hovering your mouse over the display name. I do this all the time. A small box will appear with the true email address. I've gotten some emails in the last couple of months that looked really, really legit. Like my Amazon account was going to be frozen, and at the time I was updating my credit card information, and man, you hover right over that message in the browser and there should be a little lockup there, and you can just hover over there and it'll show you where that email is actually really coming from. Other suspicious things to look out for include greetings that refer to you as customer or sir or madam instead of your name, poor grammar, or a vague signature line with false contact information. And I'm sure all of us have, gotten these in the past. You should also be suspicious of unsolicited emails with attachments. Never click to open an unsolicited attachment. What presents itself as a resume or receipt or payment could be a .exe file that plants a virus on your computer or seizes it for ransom. You really want to be careful about that. And so this is what I was getting to by hovering over that little lock there that you see on the screen. The second part of the 10-second email rule has to do with the links in the message. British journalist Jane Corbin was less than an hour away from an appointment deadline for a documentary she was working on. Doing multiple things at once, she suddenly spotted an email from Yahoo. It told her to confirm her account details immediately or her account would be shut down. Under pressure and needing important documents in her email, Corbin clicked on the link and filled in personal information. Immediately, her screen went blank. She had been phished. The fishers then attacked their new targets. Corbin's email contacts, more than 1,000 people in her email address book received an email from Corbin's account saying that she was robbed at a hotel in Spain and needed money. Corbin was locked out of her computer and was forced to close her banking accounts. If she had just waited 10 seconds and examined the Yahoo message more closely, she could have prevented the attack and saved herself the stress, embarrassment, and lost time that comes with suffering this type of phishing attack. So the second half of the email requires you to inspect links within the message. Like you did with the sender, hover your mouse over any link or hyperlinked text. Just hover it right over there. Don't click on it, just hover it right over. Be sure that the link is truly directing you to the correct website. If it looks fishy, delete the email. You can always contact the organization directly to ask if they sent you the email. This is an action that needs to be part of your daily cybersecurity practices. So make it a habit so you can thwart off these phishers without even thinking about it. Now refer to your Savvy Cybersecurity Quick Reference Guide that you should have received in your email. And this is what it looks like right here. This is the action list that we're looking at. And under item C is a checklist of action items you can take now to help secure your important information. Don't delay in securing your information. There are so many scams out there that it's difficult to list them all. So if you received a phone call from Amazon or from Social Security, I've been getting these lately. Hello, it's like a computer recorded voice. Hello, this is Amazon calling to verify your $327 charge. They don't do that. So don't bite into that information. Social Security doesn't call you that way either. And they're not going to say that your information needs to be updated, so press 1 or something like that, or your benefits are going to be stopped. The government agencies don't contact you that way, so don't fall for them. Another scam, and it's rare, is called home title fraud. Home title fraud occurs when a scammer obtains your home property title and transfers the ownership into their name. That's a scary one. My February vlog addresses this fraud and will be emailed and available to you in the next few days. So I'm going to send that out as an email to everybody. Take action to protect you and your family. Do not become a victim. Take a look at this checklist and try to decide to set up at least 3 from today's webinar. I really hope, you guys, that this was beneficial to you. Now that you have the core knowledge to create your own personal cybersecurity plan, I hope you found this presentation informative and insightful and really start getting you to think about and committing to cybersecurity. It's totally doable and it's safer and more alert by taking extra steps on the internet to protect yourself by implementing some of these things. Of course, and as always, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to call me, email me, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And don't forget to download those password apps, either LastPass or 1Password. Those have been extremely helpful to me in organizing all my emails and creating very strong email passwords or login passwords, because you can't possibly remember all of these. Again, I hope you all stay safe and warm on this snowy day here in Michigan. Thanks for listening and watching and paying attention, and look out for that vlog that will be out in a few days regarding the title fraud. Take care and have a great day.